You're watching News 12 on your side.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
All new at 6 o'clock, we're on your side with what parents need to know as Richmond County decides whether to close a couple of elementary schools. But first, the I-Team uncovers a Richmond County deputy suspended for not following procedure. We found after punching a man he was arresting in the face several times, that deputy also did not report the use of force back to his employer, the sheriff's office.
The man who was hit, Cameron Ruff, came to the I-Team claiming excessive use of force, and over several months of getting records on the case, we found he's right. Our Will Rio looking into a public trust issue that can arise in situations like this one.
It wasn't until after the I-Team started asking questions that the sheriff's office filed a use of force report and disciplined the deputy. Now, we wanted to know why the Richmond County Sheriff's Office investigates themselves and what other agencies do to maintain public trust.
911, do you need police, fire, or an ambulance? Police.
Richmond County records show back on October 18th of 2022, Deputy George Edenfield responded to the Motel 6 on Boy Scout Road.
It was a verbal altercation with another guest, and per management, they want a criminal trespassing and put on the property.
On the first floor of the motel is where Corporal Edenfield and Cameron Ruff ran into each other.
Is this the problem?
Yes. I thought so. So I'm the problem. So I tell you to call the police.
I want to say that it was unexpected.
Cameron says he's been living at the Motel 6 for 2 years with his girlfriend. Body cam shows after a heated argument in the lobby, the situation gets physical.
Miss Black Girl, you make those now. One more time. Don't put your hand up. Don't touch my make 10 on it.
Cameron leaves to head upstairs where his room is. Corporal Edenfield follows him, repeatedly telling him to grab his things and leave the property.
Is it stuff? Get off the property.
That ain't my name. That ain't my name. That ain't my name.
Then what's your name?
That ain't my name.
All right, what's your name?
Man, watch out, bro. That ain't my name.
All right, we're getting off the property.
After going back and forth, Corporal Edenfield calls for another unit. That's when Deputy Ty Daly gets on scene.
I ain't have no weapons, no drugs, or no nothing. I ain't caused no harm. Nobody that was with me caused no kind of harm, you know.
Cameron says he went around both deputies to leave. That's when the video shows they make a decision to arrest him and take him to jail. Then a struggle starts. Both deputies try to take Cameron downstairs in the elevator.
Dude, stop. Man, it's safe from the elevator to go downstairs.
Man, watch out, bro. We ain't trying to let you fall down. Ain't no weed there. It's your
Please don't let them take you in the elevator. Don't let them close that door. And he said he couldn't do nothing about it but film. And when they got me in the elevator, that was it.
Cam, whatever your name is.
Get in the car!
The video shows after Cameron gets downstairs, Deputy Daly struggles to get Cameron in the patrol car. That's when he puts him in a headlock and strikes him several times in the head.
Sit in the car! Listen, bro. You can't have to get in the car. Where'd you come from?
For the third time, we just fought somebody, and I asked her how to hear.
Were you scared at any point throughout that?
Absolutely.
A few moments later, Corporal Edenfield unzips his vest and addresses everyone watching. Cameron later came to the I-Team, claiming deputies had used excessive force on him. So we requested training records, personnel files, and use of force reports for both deputies. The I-Team initially requested the incident report 8 days after Cameron was arrested. The only thing the sheriff's office had was this citation for trespassing. We later got Deputy Ty Daly's personnel file. The first page was a disciplinary report for Cameron's arrest that night. That caught our eye because of the date. The I-Team first requested body cam of the incident on December 8th. The report reads, on December 9th, Internal Affairs notified a lieutenant that a use of force report was not completed by Deputy Daly on the date of Cameron's arrest. That was the day after the initial request for records in this case from the I-Team. It says a report was not completed until December 12th, and the sheriff's office found that the force used was unnecessary, again after the I-Team first started asking questions. According to the Richmond County's policy manual, use of force reports will be completed and submitted wherever a deputy applies weaponless physical force. That weaponless physical force will be defined as hard hand techniques. That never happened until the I-Team put in our first request for records. Only after our inquiry was Deputy Daly suspended for 7 days without pay. The manual states the sheriff's office also investigates itself, including use of force complaints, according to their own manual.
Citizens also have the right to have things questioned and looked into.
The I-Team wanted to see how other agencies investigate complaints. In Aiken, the city created the Citizen Review Board back in 2016 to work with the Department of Public Safety on citizen complaints.
We're citizens. We hear from citizens, and our job is to be the voice of the citizens in these complaints.
They typically would look into complaints like the ones in Deputy Daly's personnel file that has a history of unsatisfactory performance, not using his body camera on calls, and getting physical with people while working specials, even striking someone one time to the head with a closed fist.
We've been able to make some really good recommendations about little things that we see, maybe patterns that have emerged that look like we might need a little more training in a certain area.
In Aiken, it's a partnership between the city, the law enforcement agency, and volunteer citizens. Anyone can submit a complaint that will be looked at by the board, and a recommendation will be made to the Aiken Department of Public Safety. They see about 20 to 25 cases a year in the city.
Do you feel like a board like this helps build trust between the community and law enforcement?
I think so. I think that was the intention from the very beginning.
The I-Team found, according to the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement, there's more than 160 municipalities that have some form of oversight on law enforcement agencies.
One of the comments that the chief has made on many occasions publicly is the presence of the Citizens Review Board makes them do their job better.
We wanted to understand more about why Richmond County Sheriff's Office investigates itself, so we reached out in writing to ask for an interview. We wanted to know how they investigate their deputies and if they'd be open to the idea of a Citizens Review Board. They replied with this email saying, "We respectfully decline your request for an interview." Now Cameron's left with bumps and bruises, a court date, and a lengthy ER bill.
It was all wrong, everything was just, the motion about it was all wrong, I don't see no justice in it.
And we looked on the Richmond County Sheriff's Office website to see if we could find out more about these two deputies. We found that both deputies are corporals, meaning they are supervisors with the department.
Riley, thanks a lot. Up next, parents weigh in on what's next for students at Willis Foreman and Terrace Manor elementary schools after the district announces plans to shut them down.
Time and temp.
Show and tell.
News 1226, introducing the new standard in CSRA News, bringing you real-world information in a virtual environment, where your news, weather, and sports come to life in an unprecedented way. News 1226, on your side.
The Richmond County School System says it plans to close Willis Foreman and Terrace Manor elementary schools. It's all part of right-sizing or redistricting based on school population sizes. In a public meeting at the Board of Education, parents and teachers had their first chance to weigh in on what comes next. Alyssa Lyons joins us now live from Broad Street at the Board of Education with the options on the table tonight.
Yeah, Richard and Laura, when they finally opened up that mic, parents stepped forward asking questions, concerned about what's going to happen next, what's their future going to look like. Some didn't even know their future was here.
When the alarm went off and news breaks showed that 2 schools were closing down, so when I read the article, my baby's school was in there and I was shocked. And so when I got to the school that morning, I told the teachers and they didn't even know. It was a lot of teachers that didn't know. They were shocked as well.
2 schools on the chopping block, but more at stake.
Very frustrating, very. It is. Because we know the teachers in a small school. We got 320 students. We know all of them by name. So it's kind of hard. And you got teachers that have been there for 20 and 25 years.
The decision to right size would save Richmond County $1.7 million. But what it's going to cost her daughter is more.
It's a lot to uproot your children again when they were already uprooted a couple of years ago.
With new zones to combat overcrowding, so come new bus routes.
She would be on the bus line, which I wouldn't let her ride the bus anyway. And then the schools are already overcrowded where they say they're going, so it's going to be even worse. So you're saying that you can control the bus population, but if you're putting more kids in one school, then it's going to be the same thing.
Terrace Manor would merge with Wheelis Road Elementary, while Willis Foreman would spill into Blythe, Deer Chase, and Hepzibah. But there's only one thing that matters to her.
If it's just a money situation, then you're not worried about the children and their well-being.
Hey, I think it's safe to say that these parents gave the county so much to think about, and in the coming weeks, they'll give them even more. They hope to reach a decision on March 21st. In Augusta, Alyssa Lyons on your side.
All right, thanks for that, Alyssa. And school leaders are holding 2 more meetings after this one. There's one March 8th at 6 o'clock at Willis Foreman Elementary. The last one is March 14th at the school board before they make that final decision.
A lot of warm weather in the forecast the rest of the work week with highs in the 80s. Behind that stronger front Friday, we will cool off a little bit into the weekend.
Coming up, Columbia County preps for a national fishing competition.
Plus, a new organization looks to support families grieving after losing someone to gun violence. Why it hits so close to home for the woman behind it.
The accident was not my fault.
When you're injured, you need help fast. Call George Sink Injury Lawyers at all nines.
You need someone that's going to fight for you. Call now.
Call George Sink Injury Lawyers at all nines.
On air and all.
You gotta get George. Call all nines.
A local mom is starting a new organization with the goal of providing resources to those who've lost a loved one to gun violence.
Her name is Clara Taylor, and our Hallie Turner sat down with her to learn how her group Mothers Fight came to be and what they're doing to help.
Clara Taylor says, as a mother of 8, above all, there is one characteristic she constantly preaches.
That's love.
In the last 17 years, she's lost 3 children, 2 of them due to gun violence, leaving her family feeling any emotion other than love.
One day, you get up, you'll be just as bright and happy, and some little memory will come by, and it'll make you go back.
Leaving Clara to grasp for anything she could find for help.
Wish I would have had more open arms, guide me through some of the pain that I went through.
Since April of 2022, there have been more than 70 homicides on both sides of the river. Some of those victims were transgender and died from gun violence, leaving Clara determined to get in contact with these mothers.
You don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, and you're just sitting there frozen. I want Mother Fight to come in and say, okay, baby, this is your next step.
And make a change that has now grown into a Mother's Fight.
We're reaching out to victim parents, loved ones are going through a time now that they have to plan funerals, need some support on counseling.
Walter Santiago says by taking the weight off these families, it allows for education, healing, and resources.
We teach each other to be honest, be kind, love one another. Ours are really strong at a Mother's Fight. I think that's really the inception of it is and how it's brought us all together.
So if you have been affected by gun violence, experienced loss, and want to just be part of this change, we're going to post that link on our website. It officially launches on March the 11th, but the chat box to getting help is open now.
Vice President Kamala Harris is in the Palmetto State today talking about increasing broadband access in South Carolina. Her visit comes on the heels of Governor Henry McMaster and Representative Jim Clyburn announcing a campaign that hopes to provide internet service statewide.
Let us be clear. In America, in the 21st century, every person, no matter where they live, and no matter how much they earn, should have high-speed internet. It is simply a necessity.
Lawmakers say about 137,000 South Carolina households do not have access to high-speed internet. Columbia County getting set to host the Major League Fishing Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. Workers out there are setting up at Wildwood Park at Clarks Hill Lake ahead of this three-day event. Nick Veland live for us at the park now with how the area is bracing for a wave of professional anglers.
Well, you can see the stage and the weighing area behind me all ready to go, and Clarks Hill Lake is looking beautiful for 150 of the top anglers in the country to take it on first thing tomorrow morning.
Real exciting to see them in person, maybe get a chance to talk to them or at least watch what they're doing, things like that.
One local angler lives down the street from Wildwood Park and has been fishing Clarks Hill Lake for more than 35 years. He's been watching professional fishing like Major Fishing League on TV for more than 25 years. He's been waiting for an opportunity to watch in person.
Oh man, that'd be different.
He's going to be watching live when he can and looks forward to seeing what the television doesn't show.
You get to see more of their personality, you know, and get to know more about them by seeing them in person like that. So you develop new favorites.
Fans showing support and anglers coming in from all over. The overall economic impact is unknown, but Wes Horton with Columbia County says they're already seeing money coming in.
I have 20 anglers that are staying at Wildwood Park. That's direct revenue back to our government.
And going into tomorrow, the local anglers have been saying the weather has been perfect for fishing and only adds the anticipation.
Fish are moving up, and that just makes it triply exciting.
The professional anglers will take off first thing at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then they'll go again on Wednesday before that gets cut down to 50 of the anglers, and that final day of the 50 fishing, will be nationally televised.
All right, good stuff, Nick, and very excited to have that tournament in town. If you are heading out to weigh in at Wildwood Park the next couple of afternoons, high temperatures will be close to 80 and no real rain in the forecast tomorrow or Wednesday. Now look at that rain later into the week, just after the break.
Thanks for watching News 12 on your side.